everybody. Welcome to Uncle Dave's Brigade. Today I've got the Buckinghams, Kind of Drag, 1967. And I got an interesting story about how they got their name and what happened to them. I mean, 67 was a big year for them. I'll tell you about that and tell you about their name and what happened to groups like them in that particular year. So stick around. I got an interesting remix video of them. It shows them in various concerts throughout the years. Several of them in modern times, all the way back to 1967. So let's get to it and let's enjoy it. The Buckinghams, Kind of a Drag.
Kind of a drag when your baby don't love you. Kind of a drag when you know she's been untrue. Oh, listen to me when I'm speaking, 'cause you know the words I'm thinking, and I know that you've been cheating. Girl, I still love you. I'll always love you. Kind of a drag when your baby says goodbye. Kind of a drag when you feel like you wanna cry. Oh, girl, tell me when I'm speaking, 'cause even though you may be thinking, and I know that you've been cheating, I still love you. I'll always love you. And I know that you've been cheating. Girl, I still love you. I'll always love you. Kind of a drag when your baby says goodbye. Kind of a drag when you feel like you wanna cry. Oh, girl, tell me when I'm speaking, 'cause even though you may be thinking, and I know that you've been cheating, I still love you. I'll always love you.
A fun, wholesome video, huh? How about that? Yeah, this is I think a PBS special that they did. They did a reunion tour a number of years ago, and they were on the PBS special. Uh, the the Buckinghams were actually the Pulsations first, and they answered or were in a battle of the bands in Chicago in 1965, and they won. And they got to go to WGN TV, TV and radio, WGN station, and do a show. And while they were there, they got to sing one of their songs. And it was suggested to them that they may want to change their name and that they might want to, since the British invasion was really big right then, to capture something that sounded British. They were an American band from Chicago, of course, and they thought, well, that's a great idea. Happened to be that the security guard happened to speak up, and he said, well, why don't you just call yourself the Buckinghams? He said, that sounds very British, and there's nobody else out there with that name. And they loved it, so they jumped on it, and they named themselves the Buckinghams, and it kind of caught that wave of British invasion. Well, they had the next year, 1967, actually, they recorded in 66, they formed in 66, but 1967, they had 5 hits, all of them topped in the top 10, and this was their only number one. But that was it. I mean, as far as hits, they had 1 year where they had 5 hits, and it charted, all in 1 year, and that was it. I mean, they had some other songs that they put out, but from 66 to 70 is when they really active. Then they broke up in 1970. Just they kind of ran their course, but they captured the audience, during that period of time, and they just really hit a home run with this one. But they went on reunion tours in 1980, and then again they started touring in 2022. And but I wanted to get to why this band died out. And somebody had asked the question of Tommy James during the interview, why the Buckinghams and some of the other groups like them died out. And Tommy James said that the reason was in '68, after the Democratic National Convention, it just seemed like everything changed. It was kind of like the marking point of the industry of music changed as well as the country. They went from being a singles band lover, the people, the audience, the consumers of music loved the singles like, the Association, the Buckinghams, and the groups like that would put out just singles. They went from that to wanting album oriented artists like Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, um, and more hard edge, and then also people like Neil Young, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, who would put out album oriented rock with a theme to it. And so it shifted totally towards that. And then those that didn't have full albums, but were just putting out singles left and right, just didn't make the cut. And so they kind of died out, and the whole taste of music changed during that period of time. And it also changed in the sense that people wanted the artists to know their music, play their own music. So a lot of the bands that were, you might see them play on television, but in reality, in the recording studio, they weren't the musicians. They were not the singer-songwriters that came later. So the whole music world changed in '68, and so you can tell, you go from music like this to music like Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple, and the whole world changed in '68. So that's a little bit about the Buckinghams. We'll get to some of their other hits. This was a request, and so I want to let you guys know that if you want to put down a request down below, I will get to it as soon as I can. Make a comment, hit like, share, and post notification bell. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for dropping by. Stay tuned. Come back and see me. Be nice to each other. Be nice to yourself. Okay. Bye.